Yamadonga me sonsimo, si sai ponde mariri. Yamadonga me sonsimo, si sai ponde mariri. And a nina nina nina, 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 and a nina nina nina.
Hi everyone, my name is Matteo Politi and I'd like to share with you some thoughts I had a few days ago when I was reading again my book chapter Contribution for the Mind of Plants. This describes my first experience with the so-called medicinal plant diet, which is a Peruvian traditional way not only to treat disease but also uh, part of a shamanic initiation. So I describe my experience with a medicinal plant known with the name of Ushpa Washasanango in Peru, and in doing so I used a lot of astrological consideration to try to understand and to describe uh, what was going on to me during this diet experience in the Amazonian jungle. And then I said, such a strange pharmaceutical chemist. I am still in love with shamanism and even astrology. While most of my colleagues, especially nowadays, are dealing with virus and vaccines, and they have certainly no time to waste on this kind of old-fashioned ways to describe life and even speaking about health and disease. No time to waste. There is science, and science deals with the objective truth. So there is one truth, and even one science. Actually, I have nothing against science, but everything against those people that consider some science more scientific than another. And so, anyway, my colleagues are dealing with one truth, one health, a global health, a world health organization to fight even microscopic enemies, recommending drugs even before you're getting sick. Fantastic. So, one health, one truth, one God. My God, this is a very old story. We all know about that. This monothematic way to approach life in general is quite boring, it's very boring. And actually, unfortunately, it belongs especially to the Western hegemonic culture, and that not by chance is a monotheistic one with a long story of monarchies and even monocratic regimes that seems to come back again nowadays to repeat always the same monotonous story. There is an enemy to crucify. And in doing so, they unleash a new pandemonium, right? So be careful. Don't listen to only one voice. Open up your mind to listen to many diverse voices. That's why there is biodiversity in nature. No, this is useful for life. The biodiversity, not only in terms of natural entities, but also in terms of culture, different culture. And that's why, as a friend of knowledge, because actually I'm a philosophy doctor, so the word philosophy means friends of knowledge. So as a friend of knowledge, I like to listen to different ways to describe life in general and in specific topics related with health and disease, because I'm a PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry. And in doing so, I spend a lot of time studying traditional medicines, and in doing so, I discovered that there are even such different way to learn about health and disease, where the voice comes directly from nature, directly from medicinal plants. This occurred to me during the medicinal plant diet in Peru with Ushpa Washasanango, and this was my first experience in this context. And I have to say that yes, I wish you to find your own way to open your mind to the mind of plants, to the mind of nature.
Yamadonga me sonsima, si sai ponde mariri. Yamadonga me sonsima, si sai ponde mariri. And a nine, 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 and a nine.
Hi everyone, my name is Georgia Tresca. Thank you very much for this opportunity today. So I'm going to talk to you about fir, but not so much about my personal relationship to this plant, but more about my co-author Celine Choleka and her relationship to fir and to other plants. This is always a source of inspiration to me when reflecting on the interconnection between mind of plants and mind of human beings. So I'll tell you a bit more about Celine, who is a French herbalist who was working in a laboratory in the Peruvian Amazon and became acquainted with this practice of dieting. So this idea of giving up on something, be it food, social contact, in order to make contact to the plant world, receive knowledge, receive healing, or develop your relationship to it. And eventually, through dieting, she began apprenticing as a curandera, or a shaman. And these diets really guided her back to France. They encouraged her to learn about the plants in her environment and explore their use in herbalism. So this is what Celine did. She went back to France after years and bought land, began dieting with oak, then birch, I think, and slowly on more and more plants. And she did construct a healing system which has its similarities with the indigenous one, obviously also readopted and readapted to a different cultural and natural context. And of course, constructing healing in a way that really blurs the boundary between individual and environmental healing, between the internal body and the external environment. So the body becomes a way of communicating with the natural world, and learning about the natural world is essential to to healing. So as this process goes on, obviously it becomes more and more inseparable from broader ecological relationships that she develops to her land and to the way she manages her land and to the way she takes care of it. And this is where we get to the story of fir. Basically, Celine is able to recognize messages from firs, pick up on them, also follow them and trust them in a way that eventually lead her to guard her land with fir. And therefore, even though this practice is obviously completely separate from the indigenous context, it still serves a strong ecological purpose. And this is where I'd like to reflect on a bit. I studied environmental anthropology. I did my master thesis on these forms of shamanism in Europe. But in my academic background, I was not taught how to connect to the plant world, not even in my job, not even in my early life. So Celine to me is really a source of inspiration in how she's able to pick up on these, let's call them synchronicity signs, messages, and not solely for an individualistic, self-fulfilling purpose, but for in a way that benefits both her and her land. In fact, these two things are not really separable. She's in very strong reciprocal relationships with her land. And this leads me a bit to reflect on what it means to diet for me as an anthropologist, or what it maybe also means for other people, is that if there is an exchange, if we have to give up on something in order to receive from the mind of plants, then we should give up on, or maybe we're in a way forced to give up on this illusion, right, of objectivity, of distance, of having this illusion of seeing things through this objective stance, but rather surrender in a way to a greater mind, another intention, and another knowledge system, another epistemology. And and this might actually, eventually, dieting can lead to a cognitive shift and to a change in our environmental behavior and attitude. So thank you very much.